I find that sometimes in life, we go through these moments that cause such pain because of how we expected them to turn out, because of their expected outcomes that were not fulfilled. And these specifically hurt the most when they involve other people, people that we expected to result in some outcome that did not. And the truth is, the problem here is always expectation. Because when you expect anything, you set yourself up to be disappointed. And it's very difficult in this life not to expect, not to calculate a result, not to look into the future and see how things will pan out if you make a certain decision, take a certain step or action. But as hard as it may be not to do that, it is essential to leading a better life and to feeling better about yourself. And to better explain this concept, what I would say is that in moments where you are almost let down, by another person, for example, it may feel as though you have been dropped by someone. Someone else has decided to no longer choose you to be a person that they share the energy with. And that can trick us very easily into thinking that we are not worth it. And once we start to think that we are not worth it, we stop choosing to put energy into ourselves. And a lot of people, I'd say probably most people, including myself many times, don't even look at the self as someone they need to invest time and energy into, because we can still be here without putting any effort into ourselves, just existing. And we wouldn't even notice ourselves, and when you stop noticing yourself, you really start to lose yourself, and your quality or the quality of your daily experience drastically decreases. But if we were to notice ourselves and put in that time and energy, then our experience is elevated, our life experience. The same goes for any external forms of energy, love, care, whether it's from another person, from an activity, from success. These are all temporary forms of energy and care that are being shown to ourselves, from other sources. And many people spend their whole lives only finding this type of care from external sources. For some people, that's okay, because if you end up in a good situation where you have enough access to this, then yourself will be taken care of, and you will have a good relationship with yourself. But if we don't, and I'd say that's for the majority of people, if we don't end up in one of these circumstances where the external is enough, then we tend to lose ourselves, because we go from a place of access, external access generally, whether that is, again, from a person, from people, from successes, from activities that we partake in. And you never know what's around the corner, in life. You never know what's around the corner. You really don't. And you never know how any access to those external forms of joy, of care, of energy source. And I don't say energy source in terms of a kind of alternative way of looking at life. I say it as a source of what gives you energy in life, what brings you up, what makes you feel good. And either way, access to these external sources of life, positivity, joy, can be stripped from us at any given moment. They really can. And when they do, we often lose ourselves, as I have previously stated, because if we don't have access to what once had access to us, then we feel that we're no longer worth any access and that we're not worth it. But the truth is, we continuously overlook the access that we have to ourselves. And it genuinely is about taking a look at that access and seeing what you can do with it such that you have the best possible relationship with yourself. You treat yourself like you would treat any other friend because you care about yourself, because you should be a close friend to yourself. And along that line of thinking, you have to be intentional with the way you treat yourself in all situations. So not just your successes, not just your ups, but specifically your downs and your middles, your lows, the valleys, and the flat lines, because these are the times where it's the most easy to find yourself lost. And as I mentioned, there's times in life where other people will drop you, other people will stop choosing you, and these are the times where it's most important that you choose yourself. And I speak because I've learned this recently, that when you're faced by a situation where other people decide not to choose you, it's so easy to get the idea, the notion, in your brain, in your thought process, that because they did not choose you, you're not going to choose yourself. You're not worth choosing, so you're not going to choose yourself. And we do this subconsciously because we don't even think about choosing ourselves. Generally, we don't even think about taking care of ourselves. We don't think about ourselves as a friend. We think about ourselves as someone we push to get out into the world and to make accomplishments, to make connections, to find love, to find friendship. But we don't realize that all comes from within. And in order to find the external, we really have to begin with what's here, with what we have to offer to ourselves. And you'll never become the best version of yourself until you have fully found a way to choose yourself in all your downs and all your valleys and all your flat lines, your middles, and in all your peaks. The whole sinusoidal graph, every moment of it. If you can continue to choose yourself, that's when you'll become the best version that you can be. And once you do, once you have fully and sincerely chosen yourself, you will be chosen by others without having to try to get them to choose you. And that's not to say that you show love to yourself because you want others to choose you. It's to say that once you stop chasing the validation, the connection in external sources, those will happen naturally just because you've already chosen yourself. But the crazy thing is that at this point, you no longer really need them, those external sources, because you already found the internal source within you, within you. And so when there is a moment where you were hoping someone else, for example, would choose you, when there is that moment, and come to find the result is that they don't, or that they were, this is probably even worse and probably even harder, that they were choosing you for a certain amount of time, and then they switched up and they no longer choose you. They no longer want to be a source, to be a connection. They no longer want to share moments, and share those positive pieces of energy that make life beautiful. In these moments, we cannot stop choosing ourselves. No matter what our intuition tells us, no matter what our feelings tell us, no matter what we feel in our stomach, we cannot stop choosing ourselves. And we can't put ourselves down for this. If it's out of your hands, keep it out of your mind. And I think that quote really shows how you should react to a situation like this, how we should react to situations like this. So that's genuinely what I'm feeling in this moment, and I'd say that overall, we've got to learn lessons from these events, because everything is a lesson. The past is to teach, and the future is to reach. You can't reach into the future without learning from the past, but you can't expect from the future without being in the present, because we can only exist in the present. The future is just another present. The past is a present that already happened. So be present, be here, be now, choose yourself. And when others don't hold malice in your heart. Don't feel negatively towards them, because they are external, and if it's out of your hands, you keep it out of your mind. If you think negatively about them, then you hold in your mind all those negative thoughts. And you just put yourself further down than you would have already been without those negative feelings towards another person. To treat them with kindness and understand that they are their own being that can choose to do whatever they want. Even if it's something that wasn't necessarily considerate in any given circumstance. We don't blame, I think forgive but don't forget is really huge. It's really important. And we keep choosing ourselves, and we treat it as an opportunity to once again get even closer with ourselves, because I think times of crisis generally create the strongest bonds. So when you have a crisis with yourself, that's when you get closest to yourself. This is when you get to know yourself better than you ever have before. And in times like these, that's kind of what you got to do, is get to know yourself better than you ever have before. Build that connection, build that trust, and flow in an undescribable level of self-confidence that only comes from overcoming these types of obstacles. And the best confidence you can have is the one where you have no enemies, like J. Cole, just no enemies. And you show nothing but love. And even if people don't show love back, you're still going to be the bigger person and show love. Even if people don't choose you, you're still going to choose yourself. You're going to still show yourself self-love, and you're going to still show them love, Not to say that you would choose them over yourself, but to say that you're still going to be a vessel of positivity, because what flows through you is you. And you're going to ensure that you are flowing with the highest level of vibrations, so that your experience on a daily basis is the best that it can possibly be. And I think that's the thought. That's the thought I wanted to express. So thank you for listening.